Hi, I'm Donna Jordan from Jordan Fabrics. Today I'd like to show you how to make a pattern called Beach City Blooms. We are coming into some nice warm weather, and it would be really nice to have a blanket, a quilt you could take on vacation with you. I picked out a jelly roll. This is from Moda, and it's called Coming Up Roses. It has lots of different colors and lots of different sizes of flowers. So what we need to do is we need to pick out a background color that these will show up against, because there's quite a bit of background showing. So I've got a blue and I've got a couple of aquas. I think any of these would work. It would just depend on, do I want my quilt bluer or more aqua? And I actually think the blue looks a little better, so we'll go with that one. The pattern comes with 3 sizes. We've got a throw, a twin, and a king. I'm going to make the throw, so I'm going to need 31 strips. Then we'll need 3 yards of this background, and then we'll need a couple of borders when we're done. The nice thing about this pattern is that every block is made exactly the same, and every jelly roll strip gets cut exactly the same. So I'm just going to sort them out a little, and if any are exactly the same color as the background, I will set those aside and not use them. I'm going to go ahead and get all of these cut up. It's not my pattern, so I can't give you the exact sizes, but Cozy Quilt's patterns are always so easy to follow, and this one is no exception. I'm going to keep the fabric in groups. So this is one group there. Now this is the same fabric, but it'll go in a different block, these 2 pieces. And then we have a third stack that gets these 3 sizes. So I'm going to go ahead and group everything up. Okay, the cutting is all done, and the items we need to make one block are 2 of these background rectangles, and then we're going to need 5 of the squares, and then we're going to need 1 group from each of these. So these are set in groups. There's 3 pieces there, so I'm taking 1 stack from here. Then I need 1 from here, and I'm going to get a contrasting color. So I don't want to get the same color. Let's just dig down here a little bit. How about this one with the squares all over it? We've got those 2. And then we need something from this stack. So let's get another color. We'll get this one here. 4 of the background squares get a line drawn on the back side of them, right across the diagonal from corner to corner. Here's all the pieces we need. I think I mentioned 2 of these, but I actually need 3 of these rectangles. First step is to take the 2 long pieces, and we are going to put one of these marked triangles on one end of each, and they go facing opposite ways. So this longer one, it's going to go that way. This shorter one is going to go that way. All we're going to do is line up everything very carefully. And then we're going to stitch almost on the line. It helps if you stitch slightly over toward the corner, because when we fold this, I'll show you. That helps, so when you fold this over, everything will meet up nicely. We'll do the same thing on this one. I like to double check after I stitch to make sure everything is going to match up, and it does. Both of these long pieces, we're going to take them to the ironing board, but we are going to press everything toward the long strip. So this is going to get pressed like that. Same with this one. Then we'll trim off that extra. Next, we're going to take the second 2 pieces, and we're going to put some squares on these. Now these go the opposite way. So the longer one, we're going to face this way, and the shorter one is facing that way. And the pattern shows you exactly how to orient these. You don't have to remember this. Stitching again just to the side of that drawn line. And for these two strips, we are going to iron everything toward the corner. So I'm going to take all 4 of these pieces to the ironing board now. It really helps a lot when you trim off all of this excess back here. Your quilt won't weigh as much. It'll be much easier to stitch all the patchwork together. It just reduces all the extra bulk there. Now this one feels a little funny because you have to trim off from here, but we're still ending up with a nice 1/4 inch seam allowance and no extra fabric. We're ready to lay out the block now. These longer pieces, they're going to go on the outside. Next are these shorter ones, going to go right inside there. And last, we've got this 3rd color goes there, and it's surrounded by a little bit of the background. And then we've got a little more of the same color and just the last 2 rectangles there. And everything will fit as we get the seam allowances taken into account here. So let's start in the center with these 2 pieces. And it's just like putting a little puzzle together. I'm just going to check the pattern and sew everything in the order that it says to sew it in, and follow its directions for which way to put the seam allowances. So next we're going to add this. And one nice thing, there's not a lot of intersections to match. I always like that when I'm making patchwork. This piece goes next. Now we're going to have to sew these 2 pieces together so we can put them onto the side. And that'll fit right on there. And I'm just going to keep adding pieces, and I probably will not iron until I get all the way done. Of course, if you like to stop and use the actual iron anytime during your patchwork process here, you can. I usually wait till the block is done if it's this kind of a block. Put these 2 together. Add these 2 to the top and bottom. One last piece. Wow, it's really easy sewing. I think there was only one place where I had to make anything match, and that's right here. And look how cool that block is. So all of the blocks are like this, with fabric A, fabric B, and then fabric C goes here and here. So I'm going to get the rest stitched up, and then we can lay out the quilt. I've got the blocks all done, and we're ready to lay out the quilt. This one's kind of fun to lay out. We're going to take 4 squares, and we're going to put them with the bigger pieces in the center like this. And the quilt is on point, so you can see I've got it turned diagonally. The next block is just going to have these little guys in the center. And always when I'm laying out a quilt, I don't worry now about what colors are coming together. I just try to get the placement of the blocks done correctly so I can see what it's going to look like, and then I will go through and trade around so the colors are balanced. There, that's all the blocks, and I didn't even look at the colors. It's already blended pretty nicely. The only things I might check for is just to make sure that two of the same color aren't right up next to themselves. And I've got two plainer ones over there. I'll trade something around a little bit. The next step is to fill in these edges. So we've got corner setting triangles, and these are the smaller ones. These are going to go in all the sides to fill in. And then we have some big triangles that go in the very far corners. So these will go in all four of the outside corners. To put the quilt together, you can stitch everything in diagonal rows. So you can see that this is a row here. And you can make all of your rows like this, but you'll have to add these big corners at the very end because you'll have an individual row here, an individual row here. So I would make all of that first and then add the very outside corners. All I have to do after that is add some borders to go around it, and then I can get it loaded onto the quilting machine. The quilt is all loaded up, and it's time to pick a thread color. As with most of the quilts we make, there are lots of choices, and there's not a wrong choice. It's mainly a matter of personal preference. The pink is very light. I suspect it won't show at all, but that would be one option. We've got kind of an aqua green there. Again, totally blends in, which is what I like. We've got a light blue and then a little bit darker blue. Honestly, none of these are really going to show at all. I think I'll go with the lightest blue here. For the quilting pattern, I'm using cockatiel feathers. I like this because it's very curvy and it fills in all the space and it's nice and even. I've got the Beach City Blooms quilt all done, and I could not be happier with how it turned out. I love the fact that all of these fabrics are showing up so nicely against the background. It really makes those pops of patchwork show up. And the quilting, this is just the style I like. A lot of little swirly quilting. It doesn't take away from any of the patchwork, it doesn't fight, but it makes a really nice shading effect here. For borders, there are 3 borders. The first one is the same as the background, which gives the effect of having this float into those other borders. I put a dark one and then this nice big light one, coordinating binding. The back side, we've got this flowery print, which is in the same Moda collection that we've got in the top. And it turned out 76 by 83, I think that's the size, let's double check. 73 by 87, and we do have a smaller size and a bigger size that the pattern will make, but this is a nice generous throw size. Thanks so much for watching our video today. We hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section and I'll be sure to answer. Now at the end of every video, we like to do a giveaway. Today's giveaway is a quilt we made in a prior video called Brighter Side. And this is all done with nice 1930s pastel prints. And this was a pretty easy quilt to make, but today you have a chance to win it. All you have to do is click the link right below this video that says giveaway and put in your name and your email address, and you might be the lucky winner. Now, if you like our videos and you want to support us, the best thing you can do is subscribe to our YouTube channel. That really helps us out. Happy quilting!